Bună dimineață, era să zic bună seară din obișnuință. Well, I have to do my presentation in English, and I will try to do my best. I'm Dilmana Yordanova, part of KOTKI Visuals, one of the founder of KOTKI Visual Studio, next to my good friend and partner, Mihaela Kavdanska. And thank you. Personally, I thank you very much for this invitation because it's a very good opportunity to be awake so early. And so I'm a visual artist. We KOTKI Visuals are visual artists, and what we do usually is we show, we talk about forms, we talk about colors, shapes, and things usually which are visible. So this time we talk about the hidden sides of what we do. And usually all of us, we trust our senses, right? I mean, this is green, this is orange. We trust what we see and we trust what we taste. But let's make an experiment now. Some of you, please take some lemons and try them. And tell me, what kind of taste do they have? Here there's some more. Yes. And now I'll challenge you to take something, and I promise that this is absolutely legal. So those of you who took a lemon, please take one of these little pills. But only those who took lemon, otherwise I don't... Sorry, it's not enough for everyone, but this is how usually things are in life. Only those who took. And please take the pills, let them to melt in your mouth, and try to eat the lemon again, and tell me what taste do you feel. How it works. Anyone? Or it's too early? Any change? It's sweeter, right? So actually, we cannot trust always our senses and what we see. Usually there are a lot of different small elements, toys, gadgets, objects, which can help to change the perceptions. And this is an example of what we with KOTKI Visuals try to do, is to try to generate different perceptions and play with what we think it's common sense, and it's very familiar. So it's about art, technology in the human experience. And speaking about art, let's start with the beginning. It is not very visible, but this is a portrait of, this is me, done by a 9-year-old girl. It is a portrait. It's a very nice try. This is another portrait, and why I'm showing you this? Because I want to tell about the beginning and how we started. We started with painting. All our life, me and my colleague, I mean, I'm speaking in plural because I'm referring also to my colleague. Painting is a very interesting process, but what I think it is a very personal process. It is very much about me. I don't want to generalize, but for me, to be in a studio means that you're mostly with yourself. You are looking in yourself and you try to find different ideas, but it's like very mono process. And from painting, you go to photography, and then you say, well, you can implement some ideas in a very different way. What about changing the medium? Because something changes when you want to try to play more, when you want to experiment more, you find different ways. So painting is not anymore the only medium which can express ideas. So we go and try different things. For example, a portrait can be on canvas, can be on a building, like this example, can be different, and can be also on yourself. And this is a very nice quotation which I like very much. I don't remember exactly who said it, but a very famous artist used it at his TED speech, that the 19th century was defined by painting, the 20th century by cinema, and the culture of 21st century will be defined by interface and interaction. And this is what we like more. In the last years, all projects of KOTKI visuals and all personal art researches are motivated by the idea to interact and to share. And this brings a lot of interesting experiences. This is our team. We are basically, the founder of KOTKI Visuals, it's me and Michaela Kavdanska, but we work a lot with some very close and very dear friends, like Dilmana Yordanova, who is a media artist and programmer, Valekin Chishan, who is also media artist, Larisa Crunțeanu is part of our team, and sometimes we extend to very big dimensions, sometimes we are very, very mono. And when we talk about play, things doesn't have necessarily borders or doesn't have to be in a specific way. It's all about being out and playing with the others. I hope that it is visible, but you can interpret the history in a very nice way, and sometimes it happens just like when kids play outside. It is another example of playing. and interaction. When you think about history, it's an example of a project we did for Sibiu, Huet Urban Festival, when we were invited to represent in video mapping Baroque. And we said, well, what is Baroque actually? It's about emotions, it's about a lot of statues, it's about a lot of interesting elements, but how do we do this in our way? So we said, instead of sculptures, let's use live people, and we invited performers, and we did some interesting choreography in a way to suggest the passion of the Baroque in a different way, and it was quite fun. Speaking about interact and speaking about painting, actually, what is for us the difference? And this is what I say. For me, painting and this kind of art is very mono. Interactive art is, what is the opposite? Multi. It's about a process from inside, and when you go to interaction, it's about outside. So what we do actually is that we talk, we collaborate with different people, with different artists. Our team is very small, but it's always about communication, and it's always about sharing, and it's totally different. So from in, you go out. Of course, you have still your ideas, and of course, you have still your inspirations and problems, and you look inside, but still what matters is that you go out and you talk with the others, and it is a very interesting process. And the next step is when you invite the audience. It's not only about talking between us, but it's about talking with you together. So this is how we focused a lot on how to do projects when the audience can generate, manipulate, be part of. And this is a nice example on a very, I wouldn't say boring, but it can be also a very boring subject, like construction material. But very clever designers decided to do something with this. And this is an interactive installation. When you go, it is in a truck, and you go inside, you push some buttons, some things, sertar, pop up, and then a lot of informational videos start, and the music changes, and it's a very nice experience into the track. The track is very little, but because there were a lot of mirrors, you had a feeling that the space is endless in a way, and it was very romantic even. Interact and play in different forms, art, like this example. This is inner dust, a couple of interpretations which were represented in different parts. Interact and play with the others. This is a project developed for PricewaterhouseCoopers, but even if it sounds very serious, they were open, and we did for them a lot of even fun projects, like projections on the windows on 3 floors, which I won't show you here. And when we talk about experience, I don't want to do a presentation of what we are, like KOTKI visuals, but instead there is a short demo reel which I would like you to see. As you saw, in our portfolio there are a lot of different projects. Some are more commercial, some are more musical. We did a lot of live visuals and visual production for big, small, medium, huge music festivals in Romania, not only. We did interactive projects for specific events. We worked with brands, with cultural institutions, with artists, with refugees. And the difference from staying in your studio and doing your own art and being outside and sometimes playing different roles like account or accountant or so on, you can imagine. It is different and it's very challenging. It's not always easy, and sometimes I wish I go back and do this kind of little nice drawings. But still, it's very challenging to do interdisciplinary projects, and it's very challenging to work with people. And this gives you a lot of satisfaction sometimes. Sometimes it's hard. But we had the pleasure to work with a lot of interesting artists, architects, musicians, programmers, 3D animators, different artists from different fields, and always enriches your experience. I mean, always a new project comes with different challenge, and sometimes you think, how the fuck we go to do this? We managed to do this, and how it will work. Will it work at the end? Or, okay, let's try. Nobody knows, of course, because we always present it as like, of course, it's sure. But at the end, the process is quite challenging. And I'm sorry that maybe you don't see very well, but on the roads, when we do our projects, it's all about cables, all about techniques, equipment. It's easier, of course, to work with brushes, and sometimes it's very difficult to work with different equipment and different people who know more or less the equipment. And I'm sorry that some of the images are not very visible because it's a part of some. Oops. I just wanted to show you one which I like. It's something totally different. I like very much this one. It's because it's a very summer feeling, and we realized that it was done for a summer festival on the seaside, and we realized that we were on the scene backstage. Actually, it's front of stage, and we realized that we are surrounded by men, and we are like two girls in a very serious, and looked around and realized that they're all men and technicians and cables and lasers and all kind of technical people, and it's a very nice feeling also. Yeah. Also, when we talk about interaction, it's a very, we discovered that it's a very interesting process when you share with the others and when you present your hidden and little secrets sometimes. You share them with the others. We did, this is for example, it's a workshop in Ankara. Was very interesting to see how you present something which of course is very cool, 3D mapping, and students were very interested. The process was so amazing, and in 3 days the 3 groups had to do 3 projects, and our personal victory was when one of the group didn't go to sleep one night just to finish the project, and we said, come on guys, it's a workshop, you don't have to, it's okay, we realize that it's a very nice project, you don't have to push so hard, it's okay. And they said, no, we have to finish it. And they literally didn't sleep. And this is one of the images of what they, of the project, and was very nice. Of course, they learned from us, we learned from them too. It was a very interesting process. And the evolution from painting, from interaction, from installation, from, it's like the growing up comes when you discover your body. It's like the age when you get mature and you get used with the idea of using the body. And is one of the last mediums which we found that it's extremely interesting and challenging when you use the human body as an interface, and when you use the motion as a generator of artistic content sometimes. So the body offers you a lot of new interesting challenges, and one of it is what technology do you use when you work with the human body? It's one of the ideas which we developed and customized in our studio is body mapping, and it's an interesting project because body mapping in motion, it's something quite hard to deal with, but when you see a performer in front of a projection or not, and the body of the performer is not the body you know, and it's the screen sometimes, and this screen can show a lot of new material, and this screen is also moving and also has amazing choreographical decisions and can be very emotional. And then actually you realize that you make a kind of, I don't know, a virtual, sometimes I have a feeling that it's a kind of your avatar. These are examples of some projects when we used the body as medium. And this is a little demo of some of the interaction projects in which we involved the motion and the body. This is a remixed Bach, Sebastian Bach. This is a project called Inner Dust with interactive projection generated by the motion of the human in front. It's a project developed with Cătălin Crețu, but it's just a platform for interactive projection. This is a beginning of a platform when the human touch can generate sound, developed with Dilmana Yordanova, our Y. And maybe you don't realize, but when you touch the other, then a sound starts. And from here, now we developed different kind of interactions. This is a cultural project, more or less, body mapping and interactive projection and interactive sound. We work with refugees from Congo when we mixed the African traditional music with contemporary rhythms and sounds and techniques. And examples of foreskin. This is a presentation of the project developed by Michaela Kovdanska with Kristi Jordake for, this is exactly the presentation as Ars Electronica, the festival in Linz, 2013 edition. The project was also presented in a different form in Bucharest, and you still have the chance to see the documentation at Victoria Art Center because the exhibition is open until tomorrow. And this is the hidden part, one of the other hidden parts. It's the technical equipment, cables, sensors, controllers, and so on and so on. Things which you don't see and things which we don't want you to see. Sometimes probably we will want this to be visible, but usually we would like just to think about, oh, things are so simple, like human touch can generate sound. But at the same time, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of equipment, there are a lot of conductive materials, sensors, controllers, programming, computers, and so on. But this part, we don't want you to see it. And for example, this is a little showcase how the interaction works, which stays hidden. And a little example of how one of the programs we use in developing the project is Max MSP. Please do not copy this frame. It's an example for the interactive projection and body mapping. And this is one of the parts, actually, one of the visible part of the program, because inside, I don't know if you can see, but this is a small window. This is the small window. And this little part, which has more elements, is when you open this window. So whenever you go here, there are hidden parts and hidden controlling messages, and I don't want to say some wrong word because Christy will laugh. And we try to hide in a way. We try to hide in a way the technical part, because we don't want to focus on it. We want to focus on the experience we give and the experience we have. So this part usually is part of our research and tests and tests and again and again. And at the end, when things work perfect, you have to forget about the equipment, because it can sometimes think that any kind of computer is a little creature alive, because in the most important moment when you start the performance, things happen just like that, and you don't know why and you don't know how. Things crash or do unknown actions. And it's all part of the improvisation, actually, because none of the projects which we develop are part of something already established. It's always from the beginning and always from the scratch, and it's a work in progress until the end. And when you reach the end again, when you start it again, it's totally different experience. Another example of how things are, it's 3D mapping on three-dimensional sculptures in a very big club in Lugano, in Switzerland. We proposed these sculptures, we made the cubes, we transported them to Lugano, installed them with some Italian technicians and workers, and it's a nightmare. At the end, this is a little example of how it was before, and then we did the sculptures, we put the sculptures on 2 corners on the ceiling, then we started the video mapping. You can see Christy with some of the members of the club working and discussing. You do some 3D simulations, and at the end, you see it there. And it's a long process. But it's all about this try again and again and do stuff. And it never stops. This is, I hope, me and my partner, Michaela Kovdanska, in how many years? 50 years. For sure, we'll be still full of enthusiasm, and for sure we'll do interactive stuff. Maybe at that time things will be more mental and you don't need equipment. Maybe you'll need just the human brain or your thoughts. But one thing is sure, that whatever KOTKI visuals do in 2065, it will include you as an audience, and for sure you will be asked to come, touch, try, jump, play, stay still, focus, or something like that. Because it's about experience and interaction, and thank you for your time.